Chapter 9 is about algebraic equations. Now, so far we have been doing algebraic expressions, which means that the only difference now is we actually have an equal sign. All right. Now, for us to be able to solve equations, we've got a few steps that we must follow. So, step 1, I said, would be to use BODMAS to simplify first. Okay? Meaning, if there's brackets in the equation, then we first get rid of those brackets. Right? So basically, if there was anything that I could add or subtract, then I do that. Right? So we first simplify. Okay, then our second step would be to take the unknowns to the left and the normal numbers to the right. We have done this last year. Step 3 is we get rid of the coefficient. And then lastly, step 4, if there's an exponent, we get rid of the exponent right at the end. Okay, so let's just do an example or two. Actually, an example of 4. I know. Right, can I skip? Right, hands up, we're still copying. Okay, right, let's look at that example 1. So we have 3x minus 4 is equal to 68. So step 1 says we use BODMAS to simplify, but so far we can't do any, there's no brackets, nothing, so step 1 is done already. Step 2 is unknowns to the left, normal numbers to the right. Now this unknown is already on the left hand side of my equation, so it will stay 3x. But this minus 4, I want to take that to the other side of the equation, and that means it's going to change to plus 4. So I'm going to have 68 and then plus 4. Who doesn't understand that part? Okay, now what we're going to do is we simplify a bit. So the right hand side, 68 plus 4 is going to give me 72. Okay. We did step 2, where we took unknowns to the left, normal numbers to the right. Step 3 says get rid of the coefficient, meaning get rid of that 3. How do I get rid of that 3? That's actually 3 times x. No. So how do I get rid of it? I divide by 3 on both sides, which means that I know some kids like saying x is equal to 72 divided by 3. It's the same thing, hey? So that just means that x will then be 24, because 72 divided by 3 gives me 24. Any questions there? Do you guys start remembering this from last year and the year before? Okay. Yes. Okay, now let's look at the next one. Example 2. 5 bracket x minus 1 equal to x plus 3. Shh. My first step is BODMAS. So meaning get rid of the bracket. So I'm going to multiply in. 5 times x is going to give me 5x. 5 must also be multiplied with a minus 1. And that gives me minus 5. Okay, the right-hand side is going to stay like it is. Now, people, your first mark is going to be for that 5x minus 5 because you got rid of the bracket. Okay, now we want to go to step 2, which says unknowns to the left, normal numbers to the right. The unknowns is the 5x and the x. So the only thing that's got to move is that one, no? Okay, so 5x was already on the left-hand side, so it stays 5x. This x moves over, so it becomes what? Minus x. Okay, we want normal numbers on the right. 3 was already on the right, so that stays 3. Then this minus 5, I want to move over. What will that become? Plus 5. Okay, now again, just quickly simplify. So 5x minus 1x will give me 4x. And the 3 plus 5 gave me 8. Now have a look. You're going to get a mark for the 4x and a mark for the 8. Because you took all the unknowns to the left and simplified, and took all the normal numbers to the right and simplified. Okay. Now from there, we go to step 3, which says get rid of coefficient. So my coefficient here is 4. So I'm going to divide by 4. So your final answer will be x is equal to 2. And that will be your 4th mark. So 4 marks for this equation. Okay? Any questions? Right, can I skip? Hands up, you're still copying? Can I skip? Okay, now I have x over 3. Now that's actually x divided by 3. Plus 1 is equal to 4. Now, okay, step 1 says BODMAS. I can't really simplify anything here. No? So then we go to step 2, which says unknowns to the left, normal numbers to the right. So that x is attached to that over 3, so I can't remove it yet. Okay? You first have to take the normal numbers to the right. No? Okay, so I'm going to say x over 3, so you see it stays like it was, is equal to 4 and then minus 2, meaning x over 3 will be equal to 2. Okay, now let's first talk about that x over 3. That is actually x divided by 3. No. Okay, so maybe I should write it like that. So what I've got here is x divided by 3 is equal to 2. So what I want to do now is that divided by 3, I'm going to take over. So it's going to become 2 times 3, which means that x will be 6. Does that make sense? No, you can skip from here, or actually from there, to this. Okay, now let me just quickly show you guys something, just an alternative method. That x over 3 equal to 2. That x over 3, what's written in front of this x? A 1. No? So that is actually a third x. No? So can you see this is my coefficient? You guys see that? So we said, how do we get rid of coefficients? We say divide by the coefficient. No. And now, if you put into your calculator 2 divided by a third, that is going to give you 6. Yeah, it's just each one of you thinks differently. So, I mean, whatever works for you, you use. Okay. You guys good with that? Okay. Right. Now, especially when it gets to fractions, you guys get confused easily. So I want to do a bit more of a difficult one where all my terms are in fraction form. Can I skip this one? Okay. So now I'm giving you x over 3 plus 2x minus 1 over 4 equal to 1. Okay. So in the textbook, you will see that they just say multiply with the lowest common denominator because that's the way that we get rid of the fractions. My previous class actually wanted me to first have them all in fraction form, and then after that, we skip to the next step. Okay, so I'm going to show you that added step in between, and then I'll tell you which one you can leave out. Right? Okay, so we've got to look for the lowest common denominator. What's my denominator here? It's actually over 1. Okay, so look at my denominators, 3, 4, and 1. So what would a common denominator be? 12. No. Okay, now how would I make this one 12? I'm going to say times 4. And if I do it at the bottom, I also have to do it at the top. So that means that I would have 4x over 12 and then plus. Okay. Now the next step. How would I make it 12 at the bottom? Times 3. And if I do that at the bottom, I also have to multiply with 3 at the top. But here's the trick. There's more than 2 things at the top. So you put them in brackets and say times 3. Does that make sense? Okay, so 3 bracket 2x minus 1 over 12. No, yeah. Okay, equal to. Over here, what did I have to do? I had to multiply with 12. So at the top also multiply with 12. No. So what would I have there? 12 over 12. Now, you could have skipped directly to just saying, can you see everyone is now over 12? So because they all have the same denominator, I can actually only look at what's written at the top. So you could skip that step totally and just go to 4x plus 3 times 2x minus 1 equal to 12. You can skip. You can skip directly to this step. From there, go to that one. Okay. If you are comfortable with it. All right. Now, I've gotten rid of all the fractions. What's step one? Use BODMAS. So meaning I've got to get rid of the brackets. No. Right. So I'm going to multiply n then. So 3 times 2x will give me 6x. And 3 times minus 1, minus 3. Okay. Let's go and simplify a bit. So 10x minus 3 is equal to 12. What do I do now? Unknowns to the left, normal numbers to the right. So 10x was already on the left. This minus 3, I want you to take over, so it will become 12 plus 3. So you can skip to, hold on, 10x is equal to 15, yeah? I'll show you where you get your marks now, and then you only have to write those. Okay. Right, now, step 3 is get rid of the coefficient, meaning get rid of that 10. And how do I do that? Divide by 10. No. So you would get x is equal to 15 over 10, but that simplified is actually 3 over 2. Have a look. I divided by 10 because I wanted to get rid of this coefficient there. Okay, and then you'll see that these cancel out, so just x is left, and then the 15 over 10. Are you fine with that? Okay, now, where do you get your marks? You are going to get your marks here, right? Then you will get your mark over here because you multiplied in that bracket. Then you're going to get a mark for the 10x and for the 15 because unknowns on the left, normal numbers on the right. So a mark for each one of those. And then lastly, you get a mark for your final answer. So 5 marks here. Yeah. No, it won't. Anya, your hand was up? Yeah. Okay, so basically, you just look at what I have to multiply with 4 at the bottom. So I multiply with 4 at the top. So x times 4, 4x. Right? And then next, I have to multiply with 3 at the bottom. So I know I've got to multiply with 3 at the top. So I just write the top part. Okay. But if you're not comfortable with it, then rather write that added step. Yeah. Usually they would say simplify. So then you'd have to go to that 3 over 2. Yeah? Well, if it says simplify, then you had to give me the 3 over 2. Otherwise, it's not simplified completely. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Do you guys think you'd be able to try? The only difficult ones are the ones with the fractions. No, the rest you guys are used to. Okay, right. So, homework. To hand out homework. Okay, there we go, people. So exercise 9.1, that's on page 77. You're going to do number 2 up until 5. So just leave out number 1, no? Looks like a lot, but number 2 and 3 is, and actually 4, it's all quick. Okay, right, you guys can get started on that.